Bank of America launching a new lobbying effort to defend itself from a public backlash after it raised fees on its debit cards. You heard a lot about that right here. Now, the report on the lobbying comes exclusively from our own Charlie Gasparino. You know, that decision got me so fired up, I cut up my Bank of America card on air last week. The nation's biggest bank lobbying members of Congress as well as the officials in the new Consumer Protection Bureau as they say they want to better explain, that's a quote, the new $60 annual fee. I don't know if explaining is going to do it. For all the latest on this, I'm joined by Congressman Brad Miller from North Carolina, who just this week introduced what he calls the Freedom of Mobility Banking Act, which makes it easier for you to switch banks, that is. Congressman, I want to start with this number that we found. It takes 3 months, 90 days to actually switch banks typically. Yeah. How is this relationship so sticky?
Well, it seems to be very intentional. Actually, there are bank consultants that tell banks how to make it hard for customers to leave them. First of all, you've got to go in person. The banks don't really want you to come in person anymore if you can possibly help it. They don't want to pay tellers to talk to you. But you've got to come in person to a branch if you want to close your account. Then you've got to worry about getting the funds in that account to the new account, and then you've got to worry about all the stuff that is, all the payments that are automatically deposited, your paycheck, your benefits, whatever else, and all the bills that are paid by automatic deduction.
So, your bill, though, tries to counteract all of that, right?
Right.
Tell us about that.
Sure, it tries to make it easy for people to change accounts so we can put real competitive forces, real market forces into consumer banking. Banks could not just announce a fee and not worry about losing customers. No other business in America can do that. Part of the problem is it's hard to know what you're really being charged by banks. That's something that the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau needs to take on. But then it's hard to change. So you ought to be able to go into a new bank, say, I've compared your business to my your services and your fees to my old bank. I like you better. I want to change. I can hand you the phone and say, call your old bank, and you can change.
That's a big change because you said that prior to this, you really had to go to the bank branch to ask to get out of your. You couldn't do it on the web.
Sure.
You couldn't do it by telephone. Your law would allow folks to do it the other way. Would also transfer this balance promptly instead of having to wait. Because let's see, as you were saying, the big fear is that my automated payments get screwed up, and now my mortgage isn't paid, and goodness gracious, what happens after that?
Or your paycheck gets deposited in your old bank instead of your new bank, and on and on. And then the old bank has to cooperate to make it a smooth transition.
All right, let me ask you this, though, because a lot of people out there, I think, may have mischaracterized your bill. They think that you're trying to cap these debit card fees. And let me tell you, I wouldn't be in favor of that. I think the bank has the right to charge whatever they want. I also have the right to walk.
You do. And what I'm trying to do is introduce competition so that if a bank is offering you the best services, the best charge, whether they do it through that fee or some other kind of fee, then they get your business. But if they can't compete, then you can go down the street the same way you can if you don't like your grocery store's charges.
Well, let me ask you this. So our own Charlie Gasparino reporting today, Bank of America is pushing back here, lobbying hard. Are they going to be successful in trying to sway the public on this? I mean, the reality is their website has crashed for 6 days. You can't get on to move your money. People are complaining. Can they, get Congress convinced that they need to be left alone to do their own thing?
Well, bank lobbyists have been remarkably successful in the last few years. There is no doubt about it. I don't have any reason to think that that Bank of America's website crashing had anything to do with any of this. They've had a tough week, though. There's no doubt about it. But I think this is simple competition. It is trying to introduce competition, market forces into consumer banking. And if we can do that, it's obvious that the switch for competition is in the off position, so banks can do whatever they want to and don't worry about losing business. If we can put that switch back in the on position, that will do more to protect consumers than any bill we could pass.
Congressman, a lot of people out there saying there's already too much regulation on banks. How would you respond to the criticism that maybe your bill is just one bill too many?
I think people would like banks to compete on a level basis for their business. They know they get a better deal if they could figure out exactly what their bank's services really are, what their charges really are, what their fees are, and go to a new bank if they don't like the one they've got.
All right, Congressman, thanks for your time tonight. We really appreciate it. Keep us apprised of how your bill is doing. Thank you.
Thank you.